Protect the flock, we rally in the lion's den. Shield to shield, the storm is thundering. Unleash the roar, let the lions run. Torch the night until the battle's won.
All right, welcome back to the Lion's Den. We're going to keep on going with Letter Carrier Perfect Street Edition, right? We started it last week. Going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep on doing route protection. That's what I'm going to do. Because September 1 is quickly approaching, and we're going to have to get ourselves ready. September 1 starts the data again. Summer months they can't use, June, July, and August. So September 1, we're back in the game, and we need to make sure that we're educated on everything that we can. I like this thing that's this guy put together, Hedgecott put together, because it's just a bunch of different things that are helpful. So I like this. May read this again. And so anything that we can do to save minutes, to protect our route, because a route is a carrier. A route is a person, a body. So management wants to do away with bodies, carriers. And so they're going to come in and steal as much as they can this fall. I'm convinced of it. They're going to steal as much as they can. It's our job to do what we do, make sure that everything is documented. We're doing everything exactly how we're supposed to do it, so that when these things go to arbitration, if they do, we'll have a very good case. I don't think that they will. Any grievances coming out of this, like I continue to say, I believe there's going to be a joint process. I really do. And I think that in that joint process, you're going to see some kind of agreement that any grievances that have been filed during the fall will fall under the purview of these local teams. And then they will go in, get the data, and adjust routes like that. So management's going to get over on us, and there's nothing we're going to be able to do about it. We're going to sell that away. I don't believe you'll see any monetary awards coming out of management coming in and completely stealing everything that they can. And I think that's going to happen. I think they'll steal as much as possible, and we won't hold them accountable. That's just me. I have no idea. I could be completely wrong. I've been wrong once. And so I think that that's what's going to happen. So, but we'll do what we got to do. We're going to protect our routes. And so we'll keep educating on that and until we're just finished with it. All right. We may start again. Eventually, what I want to get to, and what James Henry wants me to get to, the basics. Get to the basics of it for new stewards. There's nothing wrong with old, stewards have been doing it a while, to get back to basics. And so that's where James wants this to go, is getting back to the basics of it, helping those stewards that are just starting out. Because listen, I get it. It's overwhelming when you're a new steward. Overwhelming. All the different handbooks and manuals. You won't know all of it. It's impossible. So we'll start out with the basics. We'll get that down, because any good foundation, if you want something built strong, a great foundation is where we're at, right? So we're going to get to the basics. Saw something on Facebook the other day. Thought it was sad, comical, but sad. And the CLC, they put out things on social media. It's the basics of things. Just cause. Just talking about just cause. And there's always this one representative of Region 2. And if y'all remember, that business agent came on here and was defending Renfro, talking about how honest of a guy Renfro is, and that he did not see, like I saw, that Renfro was dishonest. He just didn't see that. And so there's always this representative of Region 2. They do not like the CLC. And so the business agent's office, there's some in there that do, but the business agent and some others that can't stand us, especially me. And so you always have this one individual that will come on there and comment on any kind of training. I remember this individual, when we did the LMOU training, commented on there. It was just a bunch of reading. And so they put out something the other day, the CLC, we put out this thing, just the basics of just cause. And this individual comes on there, and this is what they say. And I thought this was sad, but it tells you how far we have fallen as a union as far as educating and understanding who we need to educate, right? We've got to educate the new stewards. Got to. No steward's going to come in experienced. They're just not. Too much. So this person said, I hope this isn't really news to anyone, especially stewards. I hope this isn't really news to anyone, especially stewards. So this person said, hey, what's wrong with putting out information that some may not know? We have many new employees as well as new stewards. This person comes back. Now, this is a representative from Region 2, right? This is a representative out of that office. I get that. I guess I just can't imagine a steward not knowing that. We do a lot of stewards training here. I'll read that again. I get that. I guess I just can't imagine a steward not knowing that. We do a lot of stewards training here. This is the type of individual, to me, that would make fun of someone if you were in there, say, hey, my New Year's resolution is I'm out of shape, so I'm going to go to the gym and try to get myself better. This person would make fun of that individual. What is this person doing in it? Look at how out of shape they are. What are you doing in here looking like that? Well, I'm trying to get myself better. Yeah, but I get that, but I just can't see anybody, coming in here looking like that. It's that entitlement attitude that some of these business agents' office have. Business agent, as well as some of those working in their office. This is Region 2 that this person is a spokesperson for. And to continue to come onto the CLC things and chastise and criticize them for doing just the basics. I can't imagine any steward wouldn't know that. Well, you know what? As a new steward, I didn't know anything. If you said just cause, I wouldn't know what that meant. As a new steward, I'm looking at the JCAM saying, what is that? Just cause. Hey, Corey, what is just cause? No idea. Never heard of it. What is just cause? That was me. I'm telling you, when the guy that became my branch president, when he took over, he asked me to be a steward, and I was adamant that I was not, because like I said, I had no idea about nothing. And so I had a couple other people that worked with me said that they wish I would, so I started doing it. But if Dave Clark would have come to me and said, hey, Corey, do you know what just cause means? No. Do you know where to find it? No idea. What's Article 16 about? Never heard of it. So, yeah, obviously this spokesperson for Region 2 thinks that the only people that need to be educated are the educated. How ignorant does that sound? The only education we do are to educated stewards. What about the steward who doesn't know anything about anything? Should we not educate those? And that's what we're going to get back to when the CLC takes over. That's the reason this podcast, Lions Den, is made. James Henry wanted something that goes back to the basics. And I said, you got it. I'll do that. No profanity. I said, you got that too. I'll keep that for Sunday. But I don't get the mindset of criticizing those that attempt to educate the uneducated. This entire podcast started from that. From 8 Arbitration started from that. And so you got entitled people in business agent's office. This person is obviously entitled, the spokesperson for Region 2 that continues to come on things. And I just can't imagine any steward not knowing that. That's an entitled person. They're ignorant. And ignorance is flowing in a lot of these business agents' office, unfortunately. And they've forgotten where they came from. They've forgotten what their job is. And our job is to educate every member. And that's what we're going to do. So we're getting back to the basics eventually. And I can't wait. I love the basics. I love the basics of it all. As a new shop steward, help me out, man. What am I doing? I have no idea. When I get disciplined, what in the world am I going to do with this? Never seen a piece of discipline before, but now here I've got one. So we're going to get into that, all right? We'll get into that. We'll get back to the basics. And we'll just keep feeling sorry for those individuals like this spokesperson from Region 2 that comes on and say, I just can't imagine any steward didn't know that. They've forgotten who they are and who they work for. And that's sad. It really is. And I feel sorry for those people that their lives are filled with that kind of discontent. And they're sad individuals, and I feel for them. But anyway, let's get back to Letter Carrier Perfect. All right, Street Edition. And we're just going to keep going down through here because I love this stuff. This guy did a fantastic job. Monthly safety emphasis. September parking. The definition of legally parked. Parked in at a legal and authorized parking point. Vehicle turned off. Keys out of ignition. Wheels curbed, if appropriate. Use the LLV flashers and strobes when parking. Well, let me read that again. Parked in a legal and authorized parking point. Vehicle turned off. Keys out of ignition. Wheels curbed, if appropriate. Use the LLV flashers and strobes when parking. What about securing the vehicle? I guess they didn't care about that. Management, when they put this up, they didn't say anything about locking the vehicle. So we would have an out right there, right? If they brought that to us and saying, yeah, you violated this. Well, he didn't secure the vehicle. You didn't tell him to. So it's little things like that, right? M41.812.5. M41.812.5. Arrange letter mail, flat mail, and small parcels in the work tray provided on the ledge behind the windshield so as not to obstruct vision or use of the vehicle controls. Trays must not be piled on top of other trays on the ledge behind the windshield. Do not place any mail on the floor of the LLV. All mail is to be worked from the work tray. If you can't fit all the mail on the tray, then work it out of the back of the vehicle. Do not double stack trays of mail. Now, we had a person get an investigative interview the other day. Somebody put it online or sent it to me one, where management went up and did a street observation. Now, they did it covertly. They never approached the carrier. If you don't ever approach me on a street observation, I'm going to say that you falsified the 4584. I'm going to say you never went out. And that's going to be my contention. This person was watched for 15 minutes, never notified that management was watching them. They get back, here's just a laundry list of things they did wrong. And so I'm going to question that if I'm a shop steward. I know I'm getting off base here, but I'm going to question that if I'm a shop steward. If you didn't come up to me and tell me that you're watching me, I'm going to say you never watched me. To me, that's spying on me. That's tree topping. And we got plenty of sites about that. But anyway, one of the things that they wrote on there was that the carrier was working mail out of the back of the vehicle. That's one of the things they wrote on there. Carrier was working mail out of the back. One of the things that they were chastising them for. I'll read this again. Do not place any mail on the floor of the LLV. All mail is to be worked from the work tray. If you can't fit all the mail on the tray, then work it out of the back of the vehicle. Do not double stack trays of mail. M41.335.13. M41.335.13. Agreement by hotel, apartment, house, or the like. Form 3801 is filled out and on file in the route book to release letter carriers from liabilities if a parcel goes missing, etc. It's got several pictures in here about how the wrong way to do things on ledge and the right way. M41 section 131.46. Before you leave the office, enter on form 1571 the mail curtailed when you return. Add any mail which was not delivered and which was returned to the office. Follow any special local procedure set up to identify errors and corrective actions for mail return because it was out of sequence. This is huge for us right now because on social media, if you get on there, all you see is where management is telling carriers to cut delivery. Saw one today where manager, postmaster told all the carriers, come back at 5. Bring every bit of mail you got, come back at 5. Nobody works past 10 hours. I'm going to make sure that I fill out a form 1571, a curtail slip. Okay, that's your protection. That's your protection. M41, section 131.46. Before you leave the office, enter on form 1571 the mail curtailed. When you return, add any mail which was not delivered and which was returned to the office. Follow any special local procedure set up to identify errors and corrective actions for mail return because it was out of sequence. If management tells you that they do not have a Form 1571, we need to file a grievance on that because they should have all forms available for us. But if they don't have one, use a regular piece of paper. You can use a piece of toilet paper. If it can be printed off and go in that case file, I'm going to use it. All right? I'm going to use it in arbitration. The arbitrator doesn't care. If I got a piece of toilet paper and I said I had to fill out this is my 1571 because they didn't have any, and I filled this out, management refused to sign it, that arbitrator is going to take that. I promise you. Make sure if they don't have a 1571, stewards, let's file on that. They should have all forms available for us. Get a piece of paper and put it on there. This is what I curtailed, and have management sign it. If they refuse to sign it, write on there that they refuse to sign. Get your shop steward to grieve that because they have to sign it. Okay, that's our protection. M41.241.311. M41.241.311. Form 3982 provides a quick reference for carriers unfamiliar with customer removals from the route so the mail of these customers can be withdrawn from the case and bundled for forwarding by the CFS. Exception. In a delivery point sequence environment where customer removals may first be identified while performing street duties, they must be withdrawn and returned to the office for processing. Use of a PS Form 3982 or a locally developed policy to identify removals while performing street duties will be used. M41.442.2. Add any mail which was not delivered but was returned to the office, line 21. This is critical to inform management not only the missent mail, but depending on the route type will determine how much bad DPS is returned for further processing. Think if you had a college dorm or an all-apartment route compared to a 100% residual residential single-family home route. The amount of extra processing between the routes can be enormous. Don't cut your route time to fit DOAS. Why? You receive, during a formal inspection, 1 minute for every 10 pieces for separating mail and 1 minute for every 4 pieces of mail you actually mark up, rounding up. Example, you bring back 40 pieces of DPS. Record it on your Form 1571, report of undeliverable mail, from the route that is not counted in DOAS. That is 4 minutes to separate and potentially 10 minutes to mark up, bundle up the mail for, or 14 minutes that DOAS is stripped from the route. And yes, this is office time, whether it's AM or PM. This bad DPS has to be processed the same day. All commingled mail is upgraded to first-class mail. POM, Postal Operation Manual, 458.2b. 458.2b. If standard mail is mixed with a higher class of mail, first-class mail, in such a manner as it loses its identity, the standard mail must be considered upgraded and treated as the higher class of mail. Why? Pushing the mail until tomorrow morning will place you in a bigger DOAS pet hole. Why? Your supervisor does not count the bad DPS you have to process. Why? Office time. Where'd the time for processing 136 pieces of first-class mail go? And he's got examples up here on the 1571. 136 divided by 10 equals 14 minutes to separate the mail we round up. 136 divided by 4 equals potentially 34 minutes to mark up, bundle for CFS. 14 plus 34 equals 48 minutes stripped from the route by the supervisor. This happens every day to every route, 6 days a week and 52 weeks a year. Letter carriers do all the work and the supervisor claims you're not making office standard or lay down, you dropped the plow, what happened out there, etc. This was an address DPS mail that is marked up as vacant because it was mail for vacant apartments. He's got a picture there. 267 pieces divided by 10 to separate the mail equals 27 minutes. 267 pieces divided by 4 to mark up the vacants equals 67 minutes. 27 minutes plus 67 minutes, 94 minutes stripped from the route on this day. How much time every day, week, month, year is being deducted from your route. And it's got DOAS. M41 121.12, time allowances for carrier office work. 8 for each 10 pieces of all classes of mail separated for forwarding or return, 1 minute. 9. Periodicals marked up for each 2 pieces handled for forwarding or return, 1 minute. 10. For each Form 3579 undeliverable periodical, standard A and B or controlled circulation matter, 2 minutes. 11. For each 4 pieces marked up, mail marked deceased, temporarily away, refused, vacant, occupant mail of obvious value, or no mail receptacle, 1 minute. 12. For each change of address, including Form 3546, recorded on Forms 1564B and 3982, 2 minutes. 13. Insured receipts turned in, 1 minute. Management can and should enter the extra time into DOAS. The fixed office time in DOAS is only updated when a route adjustment as a result of a formal count and inspection is implemented in DOAS. This upgrade would allow DOAS to amend that time to include time for lines 8 through 13, depending on the method used above. If a route is inspected but not adjusted, no changes sent to AMS, the Implement button in DOAS must still be used so that base data for that route is updated. Do you think management will? Add the potential 48 minutes to the route time and you got 13 minutes overtime. Where did that time go? Wait, there's more. And he's got pictures of all these things. Add the potential 48 minutes to the route after everything is uploaded and you got 45 minutes of overtime. Where did that time go? Your supervisor is stealing time from your route. In the supervisor's telecons, who do you think is getting the blame for poor performance? Then it's got the memo for all Western area employees, integrity and accurate reporting. This memo is a reminder of your obligation to manage and work with integrity. This memo is a wasted memo, all right, because you lost 90% of management with the first sentence. I'll read it again. This memo is a reminder of your obligation to manage and work with integrity. It is an absolute requirement that every employee accurately report mail conditions, timekeeping information, barcode scans, and all other data entered into Postal Service databases. Do not share your password and do not access the system with someone else's credentials. I'm going to read this part again. It is an absolute requirement that every employee accurately report mail conditions, timekeeping information, barcode scans, and all other data entered into Postal Service databases. Now, how many of y'all's managers tell y'all to falsify parcel scans? How many of your managers tell y'all to bring mail back unreported? How many of your managers tell y'all on these scans they want us to do now, these integrity scans? Just scan it wherever you're at. If it comes up, just scan it wherever you're at. That's who we deal with, right? That's who we deal with. Any employee that immediately comes forward and reports a violation of these requirements will not face consequences simply for doing so. However, every employee who engages in inaccurate reporting, falsification, or who knowingly provides misleading information will be subject to disciplinary action, including removal from the Postal Service. I wonder if they're talking about HIP training as well. I wonder if when they say falsification or who knowingly provides misleading information, that would be telling me that we performed HIP training when we didn't. So these things don't mean anything when they write them to themselves. As a reminder, every violation of ethics policy must be reported to the Office of Inspector General. Requiring every employee to act with integrity and report accurately is critical to our business. When each of us is upfront, honest, and truthful, we can identify problems faster and immediately find targeted solutions. This saves the Postal Service valuable time and resources. Do not place your employment in jeopardy. Always tell the truth. Be accurate in what you report. And never place yourself in a position which compromises your integrity. That sounds good, doesn't it? This memo is a reminder of your obligation to manage and work with integrity. It is an absolute requirement that every employee accurately report mail conditions, timekeeping information, barcode scans, and all other data entered into Postal Service databases. That memo is not worth the paper it's written on. The easy way is efficacious and speedy. The correct way is arduous and long. But as the time clock ticks, the easy way becomes harder, and the correct way becomes the easier. M41 Section 911.2. The count of mail is used to gather and evaluate data to adjust routes fairly and equitably to ensure that the workload for each route will be as near as possible to an 8-hour workday for the carrier. This does not mean an 8.05-hour workday or an 8.25-hour workday. It states as near as possible to an 8-hour workday. Is your route an 8-hour assignment? And there you have it. That's it. That's 30 minutes. Not bad. And so that is Letter Carrier Perfect. And I love that stuff. I think he did a fantastic job. A lot of stuff in there for us. But if you, like I've always said, it's up to you whether you want to be good or great. If you want to be great, you listen to that stuff over and over and over again. You read that stuff over and over and over again. It's boring. It's boredom at its finest. When I first started, you talking about boredom. I read, and I didn't even like reading that much. I read and read and read because I did not want to get beat ever. I did not want management to ever get the upper hand on me or my people. So I read everything that you could imagine. And so it just depends on what you want to do, really. If you want to be good, do the basics. Do the basics. If you want to be great, study, listen. Listen to these podcasts that are educating. Read everything you can get your hands on, okay? I want all of you to be great. We're going to start out with the basics. Like I said, hopefully as soon as this route protection stuff is over with, we'll start out with the basics, and then we'll start educating at a high level, okay? Everyone is welcome here. Everyone is welcome here. If you've been a shop steward for 2 days or 20 years, everyone is welcome here. We're going to educate everybody. We will not be like this spokesperson from Region 2. We will never be that person. Taken for granted that you walk in the doors of shop stewards, you know everything. We can never be that. That is an absolute disgrace and abomination to this union, that individual there, okay? So that will not be us. That will not be us. Like I said, everybody is welcome here. 2 days, 20 years. We're going to do everything we can. I'm still learning, and I've been a shop steward since 2006. I'm still learning every day. Every day I call JB, I learn something. So he makes me feel like I didn't do my homework as much as I thought I did, but that dude's something else anyway. But he'll be on in a couple of weeks. JB will be back in a couple of weeks on the Lions Den. He's going to talk about some 3996 stuff. And I've left JB alone. Like I said, his son is his life, and he plays baseball about every day of the year, and JB coaches his team. So I don't bother JB to come on here, and once he gets time, he'll do that, but I leave him alone. I understand the importance of those babies and making sure you're in their life, and so they're having the time of their lives. And his little boy's a pretty dadgum good baseball player, and so he'll be on in a couple of weeks. He's going to talk about some 3996 stuff, all right? So there you have it. That's the rest of a Letter Carrier Perfect. I still appreciate that dude for coming out with this great stuff, taking his time out of his day, not getting paid for it, to come up with something like this to help the city letter carriers. And that's what this movement is all about. It's the city letter carriers standing up for the city letter carriers, taking care of ourselves until we can get change in there. Change back in our union. Get rid of these people like this spokesperson from Region 2 that thinks that it's a waste of time to educate the uneducated. And we can never be like that, all right? Okay, I'll be gone the rest of this week to California, their state convention. Then we're heading over to Jersey from there. I'll be back. I'm going to talk about the Chargers when I get back, okay? I was going to do that tonight. My grandson's got a football game tonight. And I promised him I wouldn't miss any of those. So he's got a football game tonight. I'm going to be at that. And so I'll be when I get back, we'll talk about those charges that Darren Knowles has filed. They've been investigated, and we'll talk about that, all right? And whatever else, maybe some more of the 12 and 60 stuff. I don't think I finished going off on that. Some things have come up that I'll just cut it off right there because this is Wednesday episode, all right? Wednesday episode is educational. All right, so y'all have a fantastic rest of the week. If you're going to the California State Convention, come holler at me, all right? I want to talk to you. And then we'll be over in Jersey. So I love you, Light Blue. I love you very much. And we're going to get this thing turned around. We're going to get the workroom floor educated like never before. And we'll get it turned around. I promise you. Better days are coming. And I know that for a fact. All right. I love you. Please take care of yourself. It's hot out there. Please take care of yourself. And I'll talk to y'all next week. All right.